Right, if you're watching this now, it means two things. I'm making my YouTube debut, so that's good. Welcome to my YouTube debut. It also means I've survived the operation, so that's great, because this is the night before. So I'm just gonna introduce myself a little bit, to let you know what's happened and let you know why I'm doing these videos. Talk a bit about my injury, how I'm feeling, and then hopefully there'll be catch-up updates kind of throughout the process, throughout what I'm hoping will be a lovely, successful recovery from a pretty rubbish injury. So I'm George, if you don't know me. This is weird, because usually I'm doing videos for people that already kind of know who I am, because they're following my Instagram or TikTok, but there's a chance you don't know who I am. But I'm sure, as you can tell by the title of the video, I have ruptured my patella tendon, which isn't great. It's not my favourite thing I've ever done, but... And then I've watched a few videos since that have really helped me, of people that have also had the same injury and have since recovered, and some of them long since recovered, and they're like 3 or 4 years down the line. But hearing them talk about how they felt going through the different stages helped loads, man. I felt like really connected to them for some reason, because the way they were talking was exactly how I was feeling. And then also it's really good to see like people who've recovered from it really well, how they did it, where they are now, like ages down the line. So I thought I might as well document my journey with it. My intention will be to show a great recovery and how to do that. Because the guy Eric Haley, who I'm sure if you're searching patella tendon rupture injuries, you'll have watched his videos, and he's the sort of gold standard. So if I can get close to what he's done, I'll be buzzing. But the way he made me feel, if I can make someone else feel like that, then I'll be very happy. But yeah, 2 weeks ago, I ruptured my patella tendon playing football. I'd had some pain in it for a little while. I had a little injury in the summer with it, and then kind of got back, let it heal, and then played football on it. It has always felt a bit sore and a bit suspect, particularly on this night, to be fair. I did have a weird feeling I'd get kind of badly injured, but I just hoped I was just being silly. But yeah, about 20 minutes into a cup semi-final, went into a bit of 50-50 and ended up on the floor, and my kneecap was up my thigh. So this is the situation at the moment. So I've got my brace on, but yeah, my kneecap was kind of up about here, and it just didn't look great. I had a bit of a dent across it, so like, yeah, I knew something was up. I knew what the injury was immediately, to be honest, just looking at it, and obviously how I'd felt previously. But I kind of wiggled my kneecap down instinctually. So by the time I got to the hospital, it didn't look crazy different to how a knee should look, except it's just very swollen. But long story short, they x-rayed it, nothing really showed up on the x-ray. Kneecap was a bit high, but that was it. So they just sent me away and gave me an appointment with a knee specialist, which was an emergency appointment, but it wasn't for a month. So I just sort of thought, oh, NHS is super busy, so a month's not too bad. And so I went home, kept this brace on, and kind of just waited for the swelling to die down, and etc. But some mad bruising came out, and the swelling didn't really die down. And then after maybe a week or so, I've been keeping people up to date on my Instagram. People saying, I think you should go back to hospital. And I was not gonna, but thankfully my mates kind of pressed on and said, no, I think you should. So I went back to hospital. Didn't have a great experience going back to hospital that first time. There was an orthopaedic doctor that was, for some reason, pretty intent on it felt like she wasn't really believing what I was saying, and just felt as though she was not having it. It was a bad injury. And I could hear on the phone to the registrar kind of saying things that weren't accurate, saying that I could straight leg lift, which I couldn't at all, and saying that because I dislocated my kneecaps when I was younger, that it was a similar sort of dislocation, and it wasn't at all. So I didn't get taken super seriously then, based on what she was saying, and that was tricky, because I'm thinking, no, that's not true, I think it is. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. The kneecap was super high. But then I did put my foot down a bit, in a polite way, of course, but kind of needed to. Ended up getting an appointment for the next day, which ended up being the following day, the day after that. So that was then 9 days since the injury, I think it was. 8 days after the injury, because I got sore on the Wednesday, got seen on the Wednesday. And I went in there a bit sort of concerned about how I was going to get treated and what people were going to say about it. But just had such a good doctor, a chap called John, Irish chap at Warwick Hospital. It was such a relief to see someone that's taken it seriously and did all the tests and figured out what was obviously wrong with it. And he said, yeah, because as you'll know, I'm sure, if you've done this, it's a pretty urgent situation. It does need to get operated on quickly. So yeah, he just sent me for an emergency ultrasound scan, which happened that day. And I went back first thing the next morning to find out the results, and yeah, it ruptured. So had to get surgery quick time, because by this point, well, up to the present day now, surgery is tomorrow, and tomorrow it will be 2 weeks since the injury happened. So I think you need it done as soon as possible, really. Within 2 or 3 weeks, I think is okay. Beyond that, I think you have to start talking about getting grafts from hamstrings to replace it and stuff like that, which I've been in touch with someone and he's had that done, so, and it's gone successfully. So there's ways around it, of course, but if you think you've done this injury and you go into hospital and they're not taking you super seriously, and you've not had scans yet, but if you think you've had this injury, you need to get your point across in a polite way, but say, I think this is really urgent, and get a second opinion if you need to, or whatever, because time is of the essence a bit. So that's my injury. That's a bit about what happened in the hospital. So yeah, up to now, it's the night before the operation. And it's a bit of a funny feeling, because obviously I'd rather not have an operation in general, but I know that it has to happen because my leg is not functional as it is. I literally can't raise it from the, if I can show you. So straight leg lift up, and then, oh, can you see that? Literally from below the knee, it's just not connected there anymore, so it just won't rise up, which is why it's a problem. The doctor said I could straight leg lift because that means I haven't got a rupture. Anyway, so yeah, my leg's not functional. I need surgery. I've got no choice, no option. So the fact it's taking out my hands like that is like, yeah, fine. Got to do it, got to face it. So that's what I'll do. It's just funny because I've now healed to the point where the pain's sort of almost completely gone, from having been a bit uncomfortable for a little while to now basically gone, to then the pain's going to come again tomorrow, but it's got to happen, need to be fixed up. And then the proper rehab can start, proper recovery, because the middle bit kind of feels like you're treading water a little bit, because, okay, the pain's going a bit, which is nice, but I'm not really recovering. I'm not getting closer to the end goal of having a functional leg. I'm just treading water until the surgery's done. So yeah, bit apprehensive about the surgery tomorrow. Obviously it's not going to be a pleasant experience. There's going to be some pain, and it's going to be a night in hospital, which I've never done before, and also this is the last night I'm ever going to not have a scar across the front of my knee, but just looking forward to facing it and actually dealing with it, because the worrying about it before is the toughest bit. I think once the pain's here and once the discomfort's here, I'll face it head on and try my best to deal with it, but the waiting around has been tricky. But it's finally here. It's tomorrow. I've got to get to hospital at 11 o'clock. I'm taking an overnight bag because I'm staying overnight, as I said. And hopefully I'll be able to do a few more videos after, if I get off the operating table. No, I'm sure we'll go fine. The surgeon sounds great. Sounds like he's got lots of experience, and he does all kinds of research into new techniques. So fingers crossed it goes well. And fingers crossed I'll have some updates for you soon. But until then, thanks so much for watching my YouTube debut. You were here for the first ever video of mine, and I'm going to be a superstar. I'm going to be YouTube. No, but jokes aside, thanks for watching, and I very much look forward to making the next video, because that means the surgery's all done and out of the way. But yeah, until next time, goodbye. And I can't believe I'm actually about to say this and mean it, but like, comment and subscribe. I don't actually know how it helps, but every last person on here says subscribe, because it helps the channel. So if you could subscribe, that'd be great. Don't know if you don't want to, but why would you not want to? And also, if you could be watching this ages down the line, and I'm hopefully very, very recovered by now. So, but even if it's straight away, if you've got any questions or anything, message my Instagram and I'll get back to you, or comment on here and I can talk about it in the next video, or anything. Like I say, if it's questions now about the process now, fire away. If it's stuff, if this is it's currently 2023. If it's 2028 and you see this, I'll put my Instagram somewhere, or just comment on this or anything. Just get in touch. I'll be more than happy to help. Because it's a bit of a minger, I know it is. But people have got through it before. I'm going to get through it, and you'll get through it. And I'm more than happy to help however I possibly can, because that's what I've really liked about. There's a bit of a community, you know, with Patella Tendon Rupture mods, so we'll get through it together. Any questions or anything, hit me up. Right, subscribe, it really helps the channel, and like it, and other stuff. Okay, bye.